Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal, and the WoW's next update of patch 11.05, available for testing right now over on the PTR, is bringing with it plenty of class changes, lots of different revamps for specs and even hero talents, but also brand new content and festivities with WoW's 20th anniversary. This includes a ton of new collectibles, a ton of new toys, a ton of new fun little doodads for you to interact with, but also a lot of smaller convenience features that not a lot of people really talk about. And I really wanted to combine all of the smaller features that nobody really mentions, and I really wanted to compile all of those smaller features because a lot of them offer either quality of life improvements or UI implementations, or maybe they change the way that you'll be interacting with certain content going forward, or how you'll be gearing your character, and so forth and on. So for today's video, let's talk about some of the smaller features that you won't hear about from the 11.05 update. As always, if you want to see more regular updates such as these for the War Within expansion, be sure to follow the channel and subscribe, but otherwise, let's dive right in. First things first, let's get into probably one of the biggest changes arriving with this update, and that is going to be how we are going to be interacting with the time walking content. As part of the 20th anniversary update, they got plenty of time walking instances between the classic time walking dungeons as well as a classic time walking raid, which are all going to be available during the 20th anniversary update. But also, this accounts for all of the other time walking instances going forward. Right now, currently for the last day available, so by the time you're watching this video, it's already gone, but Burning Crusade time walking has been available all last week, and you could enter the Burning Crusade dungeons and Burning Crusade raid of the Black Temple and run through it, collecting champion track gear and potentially getting even hero track gear for defeating Illidan on the time walking difficulty. Now, all of those time walking instances would actually scale your player down. So instead of being level 80, you're now level, I think, 30 in time walking TBC era, and your player stats are squished and abilities are squished. You have access to all of your talents and all of the gear, but just all the numbers are condensed by quite a bit. And what this allows you to do is certain players have been able to utilize time walking gear and time walking sets to cheese encounters or cheese that scaling, allowing them to get actually a little bit more power gains than everybody else if they use certain items that scaled well in lower level content. This could be things such as trinkets from older raids or older dungeons, or even rares out in the open world. This could be some of the items like certain heirloom gear that have multiple gem sockets on them, but they are apparently changing that whole time walking scaling system altogether. Instead of having the player be squished down to some of the older expansion content, that content is instead going to be brought up to your level. So instead of squishing players to level 30, you're instead going to be level 18. You're going to stay level 18. Your gear as it stands is going to function exactly as it does at max level content, but the content around you, the bosses and the enemies in those time walking instances, are actually going to be brought up to your level. There's a couple advantages and disadvantages to them changing the way that system works entirely. First of all, the advantages. It means that you could just use your gear and the best gear available at max level in order to be able to interact with that type of content. You don't need to go out of your way to run older raids and older dungeons that scale super well in order to have like a slight little bit of advantage in time walking content. At the same time, this also sucks for players who enjoy that kind of gameplay, because time walking gear and getting a time walking set has been a favorite pastime for many. And if you have like older legendaries or older unique items, like even Azerite gear from Battle for Azeroth, some of those aspects and pieces would actually function together in lower level content, allowing your character to play by different set of rules than everybody else. And it was part of the fun of constructing that build that could do the max amount of damage at level banded content. So on one hand, for more casual players, they don't really need to go out of their way to get all of those older raid items in order to perform well within time walking content. But it's also kind of a slap in the face for the time walking community altogether that like making a time walking sets, because now you won't be able to do so since the content is not brought up to your level instead of having us scaled down a notch. Now, another feature that a lot of people have missed out is a lot of the 20th anniversary sets, being the tier 2 sets or some of the newer sets like the one for Demon Hunters, Death Knights, as well as Monks. All of those sets actually have a couple of little bonuses attached to them. First of all, there's an achievement when it comes to getting these tier 2 bonuses that allows the other bonuses to become cheaper once you acquire one of them. called Upgraded Apparel. Purchasing an updated tier 2 set of armor during the WoW 20th anniversary celebration allows you a reward where you actually lower the cost of any additional tier 2 armor ensembles that you earn. And at first it does seem like all of these sets are going to be kind of expensive, since you need 80 bronze celebration tokens in order to be able to acquire one singular set. And many of the daily quests and the weekly quests award you between 4 to 5 to maybe 2 celebration tokens at a time. It all kind of depends on the quest that you're doing, but they don't really award you too many of them a week. So it may take a little bit of time before you can even purchase a single set, and when you do purchase a set, they are somewhat expensive to purchase. So having this achievement available allows you to, once you unlock one set that you're really gunning for, whether it is the insane looking Death Knight set that mimics Arthas the Lich King, or if you try to get the Paladin tier 2, which looks absolutely amazing in the quality of it. Once you get one of these sets, purchasing the other sets becomes a little bit cheaper, which will allow you to funnel all of your bronze currency in order to buy as many of these sets as possible. Another important feature worth mentioning is actually with a brand new raid coming out for the 20th anniversary. We have not the Nuremberg Palace, we have a brand new version of the Blackrock Depths, a dungeon converted into a raid, featuring some of the familiar dungeon bosses, but all of them have a ton of different updated mechanics, such as Emperor Dalaran Thorson is literally going to be able to summon the avatar of Ragnaros into the encounter. So it's going to be a fresh new take at the Blackrock Depths, allowing you to re-experience some of the older content that is more of an homage to the original. And with that comes also a ton of different gear that you can collect from these bosses, some of which have insanely powerful effects, or potentially insanely powerful effects that are going to be utilized during the Nuremberg Palace. And some of these items are a hero track, so they'll actually have a decent bit of item of scaling within endgame content. Now, from what I've seen, not a lot of players really mentioned that there's vendors for the 3 difficulties of this raid. You have the Raid Finder Relic Coffer Exchanger, you have the normal Relic Coffer Exchanger, and Heroic Relic Coffer. And Relic Coffers are these Time Warp Relic Coffer keys that can be earned inside of the Blackrock Depths. So far, we haven't actually been able to test out the raid itself over on the PTR, and I don't think we'll be able to, because they're probably trying to hold it off as a big surprise to be revealed once the content fully launches. But from what we can derive is, at the very least, by doing the raid, you will likely be able to collect Time Warp Relic Coffer keys just from slaying any of the bosses. And you'll be able to trade out those Relic Coffer keys for gear from that raid. And all these vendors have every single item from what I've been able to see. And this overall seems to be some kind of a bad luck protection element that they added. Again, we can't really properly go and test it right now because the raid isn't available. We don't really know if you'll learn a ton of these keys, or maybe you'll learn them in very, very limited qualities. It shows here that it says max of 120 keys, and maybe that is the cap of the most amount of keys you can get from that raid tier. So there may be some limitations on just how many of these you could purchase at a time, but at least some sort of a bad luck protection element exists within the new raid that will allow you to buy some of those best in slot items that can actually be a massive upgrade for each and every one of your characters. Now, one of the smaller features that's definitely worth noting is the fact that the Black Market Auction House returns to the 20th anniversary Caverns of Time, right below the stage where you do your transmog competition, right next to those raiding vendors and the massive stage down towards the center. Back behind all of these walls, you'll see that the Black Market Auction House has moved towards the Caverns of Time. And the Black Market Auction House is a special vendor that allows players to bid on unique items, some of which are going to be maybe pieces of Warforged and transmograble gear from older raids and older expansions, or maybe certain specific tier sets, or even pets as well as mounts, and sometimes even items that have been removed from certain vendors, or even removed from being able to acquire them through specific ways, except through the Black Market Auction House. And it's convenient that all of this is now placed very, very close to where most of the 20th anniversary events are going to be at. Now, another smaller feature that not a lot of players have talked about is the fact that they updated a lot of the mouse cursor icons. So I have my cursor overly inflated just to show you what some of these icons look like. Apparently, they updated the icons for directions, the innkeeper, repair, to speak to NPCs, the stable master transmog, as well as the vehicle button. So we can kind of see what it all looks like. So if I find a guard station out here in front of the inn, you can actually see the difference, or a slight difference, between the original icon as well as the speak icon. It's hard to tell exactly if any of these are different than what it is on live, but I'll try to see if I can get some sort of a comparison to show on screen as well. Moving on to more UI elements, they actually added an easy way for you to be able to transfer your currencies. With the 20th anniversary, they're going to be featuring a lot of time warp badge vendors where you'll be able to buy a bunch of gear as well as transbugs and other collectibles. They added a new button to be able to max out your currency. So normally when you have to figure out, okay, I want to transfer all the currency onto a single character just so I can buy all of these different items, you have to go to each character and you have to type out the actual number for every single one of it. But now you can just press the button max, it maxes out, you hit confirm, and it's now transferred. You can do that for every single one of your characters if you just want to pull all that time warp badge currency on a single character. Just a nice little convenience feature that they added as part of this update, but definitely one that's going to be utilized a lot for the 20th year anniversary update. It does take a couple of clicks of going back between all of these different screens, however, but hopefully in the future update it can maybe make it a little bit easier so you don't have to cancel out of this screen just to transfer all of that currency. Or maybe it'll just maybe allow you to pull all of the currency from every single character onto a single one just so you can have it all collected all on one tune. As part of this update, they also updated the warband bank system in order to be able to make it a little bit easier to interact with. First of all, if let's say you want to clean up the warband bank, you now have a checkbox to be able to not show the icon again. So if you're just somebody who regularly uses warband bank and you drop it in items and you want to make sure it's all tidy and cleaned out between all of the different sections, then you can disable the pop-up screen that happens every time you try to clean up the entire bank on every single character. Also, for some reason, warband banks were not utilizing all of those reagent slots when it comes to some of your crafted professions, especially when you're filling out a crafting order or trying to place a crafting order for an item. You first have to go to your bank, extract those items in your inventory, then you can use them in order to craft some items, fulfill orders, or place an order yourself. They've now tied the warband bank and all the reagents as part of that whole process, so you no longer have to do this whole shuffle to take the items out, then do all your profession stuff, and then put them back in when you're done with them. You can just keep them in your bank and utilize them anywhere you want to. Probably the best feature that you can get out of this entire system. And for the final most hidden feature that is added as part of the 11.05 update, if you're somebody who loves getting mogs on your characters, you'll notice that you actually can get a lot of different items, especially as you're questing out through the earlier zones of Khazalgar. Of course, everybody is always out to get all of the newest raid items as well, but even some of the more starting gear, some of the earlier items that you can obtain just while you're leveling a brand new character, all of those items are unlocked behind quests. Though there's a good chance you have already done these quests and have gotten some of the other rewards on, let's say, your rogue or your hunter, but maybe you want to get some cloth pieces in your mage or your warlock. They're actually allowing you to be able to retroactively earn all of those items you could have earned with every single quest. For example, for taking up the quest on my priest, the only item I see here is a chest piece that is made of cloth. And there's a bunch of items for this quest specifically that are hidden to me. As a chest piece for the male wear classes like shamans and hunters, there's a leather item for demon hunters and druids, and there's a plate piece for death knights and paladins. But I can't see those items since my class is a priest and he uses cloth. So all of those other leather, cloth, male variations are hidden to me. So if I were to complete the quest, I normally want to unlock the charred Nerubian robes on this character. And if I want to get the chest piece, the leather piece, the male item, I'd have to re-level a new character and do the quest again in order to acquire a different variation of the request rewards. But as of 11.05, they're actually making it for completing this quest and obtaining the reward. You also unlock the appearances of all of the other hidden items. Which means that when you complete a quest and you get a chest piece for one armor type, there's a good chance you unlock the appearances for all of the other armor types like plate, mail, and leather for completing the quest on a singular character. So completed quest now unlocks all of those hidden items to be added into your collectibles and your transmog section for all of your other alts to use, which means you don't have to repeat the same old quest lines. But this feature is also even better because you don't have to go and do this once 11.05 comes out, but it's more of a retroactively applied feature for all previously completed quests. All you have to do is log into the game and receive more transmogs to be added to your collection on the day of the patch. And that's it. It's probably one of the better features for any of you that are trying to collect as many pieces of transmogs, even on characters that you don't play nearly as often. And with that, that's going to be the entire list of some of the smaller, lesser known features arriving with the patch 11.05, which should be appearing hopefully sometime soon over on the live realms. As always, I do want to thank all of you guys so much for watching, and hope all of you guys enjoyed. If you did enjoy this video or found it informative, go ahead and give it a like. I would very much appreciate it. Join our Discord community if you want to discuss all of these upcoming features with the rest of the community, or if you want to let me know if I missed any of the upcoming features, or if you just want to drop it down in the comment section down below. That would help out as well. As always, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see all of you in the next one.